So we just watched another Tubi original, which we just keep doing, I guess. This is our new thing. We're watching all the Tubi originals. And we're also really lazy, so we didn't do our usual setup.
Yeah.
And we did a different angle, just kind of purely out of laziness.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You
Try it
guys
out.
let us know what you think. I think there's too much room above my head. Kaylee doesn't, but she wants to see this stuff. And I get that. So
All the cool
I
stuff
don't know how I
behind
feel
us.
about it. But the other one's probably better. It just takes way longer to set that up. Anyway, so this is about 4 drag queens who are booked at the wrong venue. And they go to this place that is filled... It's a biker bar.
Yeah.
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 I was going to say it's a bar filled with bikers.
Yes.
Biker bar, whichever you
Biker
want to say.
bar.
And, they want to hightail it out of there. But the owner of the place asks them to perform anyway. Mm-hmm. And because they got a couple fans that show up, they agree to it. And things don't go according to plan. Because a threat shows up that screws their day up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm leaving that vague for the moment. Maybe I'll reveal what that is further on in this review. But for those of you who don't want to know what this turns into, I'll just keep it at that. I really enjoyed this. I thought this was super fun. I really had a good time. I thought it was clever and funny. And it's really just going to depend on if you're vibing with the drag queens. I think that if you're somebody who finds like RuPaul's Drag Race funny, then I think this is a horror. Like, I think this would be a fun horror comedy for you.
Yeah.
If you find that kind of humor from drag queens, like, not funny and unappealing, then this is probably not going to be for you. So, yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory, though, because it is a drag queen-centric film. Mm-hmm. But I also think that's what's cool about it, is that I think it hits the right tone it was going for. Right? Like, I've seen other films with drag queens as main characters. I watched that Hurricane Bianca movie from RuPaul's Drag Race with someone who really wanted to watch it. And I just found a lot of that to just feel kind of forced. And I was not really enjoying it. But with this, I don't know, these drag queens really played off of each other so well. They genuinely felt like frenemies. Because that's how they always are in these anything I've ever watched on TV with drag queens. And it's just really fun back and forths, really fun camaraderie between them. And, of course, the fish out of water scenario of a bunch of drag queens performing at a biker bar where most of the audience doesn't want them around. But, of course, they start to win some of them over. And just kind of seeing them go back and forth at each other. And I don't feel like this film, it could get very preachy if it wanted to. And it's obviously very pro-LGBT, right?
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like it overdoes it to where it feels like, some kind of, PSA or something. Where they're like trying to say, hey, you gotta like us and it's fucked up if you don't. Like, I feel like it's just a very authentic, fun-ass movie.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that about it. So,
yeah, I had a really fun time watching it. I think that it's just like a great like vibing movie to watch, you know? And you already said it, but definitely like if it's not something that you vibe with, like you won't enjoy it. It's very much embracing what it is, like a B movie, schlocky, like fun horror comedy. And I like that it has there's a few like self-aware moments about like the budget and horror movies in general, and also like drag queens, and I thought that was all really great. And the timing, the comedic timing worked really well for me like throughout the film. I thought all of the characters were really entertaining, and I was, like invested in them. And it doesn't go the way that I think you might expect it to go, especially because they're showing up to this biker bar. And as you said, it is very fish out of water. But I really liked the connections that some of the characters end up making in the end.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was actually really sweet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all of the drag queens look amazing. Like, I loved all of the costumes and the makeup. The one thing that I wish we had gotten that we don't get is, like, I really wanted, like, a montage of, like, putting on makeup and, like, getting into the outfits. But I think that those just aren't included for, like, time, constraints with the story in general.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but there's one character that does several costume changes throughout, and I really loved all of those outfits. But yeah, I don't know. I had a great time with it. Like, it's really fun. And honestly, like, what they're dealing with, like, if you look at the synopsis, like, at all, or watch the trailer, it tells you, like, within the first, like, 2 seconds what's happening. So I do wish we hadn't known, even though it is revealed, like, really early on in the film, like, literally the opening.
Yeah.
Like, you find out what it's about, but it just kind of would have been cool to...
Be like, oh, that's
it's always,
what this is.
Yeah, I don't know. It's always fun to go into movies and be surprised. And, I mean, I guess there's no point, really, in keeping it a surprise in this one because it's revealed so early, but I don't know, for us, it would have been fun.
Yeah, so the thing we're talking about, if you don't want to know, you can shut it off here, but mild spoilers. They are facing off against vampires.
Yes.
So vampire attack on this biker bar. And, the way they utilize their budget here, I think, is super clever. And that's one of the things that I did really appreciate about the film. A lot of people use their budget as a limitation as to where they use it as a strength. And they found clever ways to get around it and kind of also incorporate it into their style of comedy. And that just, for me, just shows that this had a lot of care behind it.
Yeah.
This wasn't just a cash grab or something that they were like, oh, we'd be funny making this. This felt like it had heart and actual, like, thought put into everything. And I can always see that from a mile away. Yeah. And this film absolutely had that around it. And it does deal with some really cool topics and character moments. There's a little romance going on that's super sweet.
Oh, it's so sweet.
There's a kind of coming out of the closet thing going on that's great as well and doesn't feel forced. And when it happens, you're like, oh, that's great. And the way it all happens and what happens after with all of that's great.
Yeah.
Then there's also a kind of reveal of something else that happens towards the end that you're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that to happen with characters.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's cool. There's really clever little funny nods towards other properties.
Yes.
Twilight being one of them.
One, yeah.
And they make some good jokes there. And I just, I really liked all of it. I mean, yes. I had such a good time watching it. I was so invested in the whole thing. And it is a super silly film, but it's also just very authentic to the story and the people making it.
Yeah.
And I love that about it.
It's, like, silly in the best way possible, too. It's not, like, silly, like, oh my god, this is so dumb. It was really fun. And I like the way the vampires look in this. There's, well, I don't know if that's a spoiler, but there's some cool makeup that's done. And I think that the lore, too, like we were kind of talking about, there's some fun things that they do with picking and choosing from vampire lore, like which things are applicable. Sure. Like, is it the steak, is it garlic, is it whatever? And I think that's fun. And honestly, that is one of the things that I like about vampire movies in general, is that, like, each... You can always play around. You can always play around with the lore, and I think that's really neat, so...
Yeah, and, this isn't a spoiler. This was just a funny little thing that I kept pointing out, and we kept noticing once I pointed it out. And I don't think I've seen a film do it. So, in movies in general, but like especially in like action movies or horror movies, there's background characters, right? Like, or in high school comedies or whatever. There's certain movies where they go to detention or they have a classroom, like in Summer School.
Mm-hmm.
Summer School is a perfect example because I grew up on it and I've seen it a million times. And there's like 8 or 9 main kids. And then there's always background kids that are in every scene, but they just never have a line.
Yeah.
But you always see them. As to where with this movie, whenever they needed to kind of have a death thrown in, there'd be a survivor from the bar that you'd be like, where were they?
Yeah, like, who's this person?
It happens multiple times.
Yeah.
It happens at least 3 off the top of my head, but I kept being like, who the fuck is that person?
It was really funny.
Nobody is there with them.
Yeah, like
you can see
like,
everyone in the bar because it's a small bar. Yeah. They're all around each other the whole time. And then just out of nowhere, like a random person will get killed. And you're like, who the fuck was that?
It made it really funny, though, because it's just like, I don't know, like they were hiding out trying to survive and then they just get killed.
Yeah, they're like hiding under the bar or something. Yeah. And no one ever talks to them or notices them.
It was so funny. Yeah, they're not a part of the like the planning or whatever is happening, the scheming.
Yeah.
And they just end up dying.
That I found to be super funny because it was like they didn't want to kill off any major characters.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, we got to put a kill in here. You know, and as far as the limitations of the budget as well, the way that the vampires are killed, and they would have clever ways of, sometimes showing it, and that would go towards some of the budget visually. You know, you have to put little visual effects. And then other ways, they would like pan cameras in very clever, fun ways that would not show it, but show it.
Yeah.
And that was clever. And then how they die also felt like it was very in line with drag queens.
Yes, yeah.
You'll see. I mean, maybe you'll make the connection that I did, but I was like, that looks like something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, and there's a lot of jokes that they're saying on stage, and they dance to some songs that are very funny. They're songs we actually know.
Yeah,
they're pretty popular songs.
Popular songs for sure.
But this is just a huge win for like an LGBT horror comedy done right.
Yes.
Because I've seen a few of these now, and some we really enjoyed, like Summoning Sylvia and this. And then there's others that I was like, God, I didn't like that at all. And it had literally nothing to do with the LGBT part of it.
Yeah.
You know? But anyway, that's that. I was really surprised by this one, and I feel like so many people will overlook it. And not even overlook it. They'll straight up ignore it.
They'll just ignore it.
Because they'll be like, I ain't no queer, I ain't watching that movie.
It's totally worth a watch. Like,
yeah.
It's a really fun film. We had a great time watching it. There are ads on Tubi.
Yeah.
There was actually quite a few ads in this, unfortunately.
One, yeah.
So it's a pretty quick one. Like, I think it's only like an hour and 38 minutes.
I was told,
it
though,
goes a little slower because of the ads.
I was told, though, you guys can confirm this if you want. It's up to you. I was told that if you play the movie and you like just put it on in the background and walk away and do another thing, maybe have it on another TV and go watch another movie or whatever and let the whole thing play out, you'd have to catch it before the next movie comes on. But right when it's about to end, stop it, rewind it all the way to the beginning and press play. It should skip all the ads. I heard that's true. I don't know. That sounds like such a pain in the ass just to skip a few ads.
Yeah.
I always just use it as like an excuse to get up and get a snack or go to the bathroom.
That's one of the reasons why we like watching movies at home, is because we
like to move.
We like to move around.
I like to stand up and walk around a lot.
We get snacks. We do all kinds of things, and it's just, you obviously can't do that at a theater.
I should have gotten dragged for this review. I should have let the girls do something to my makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ads in this one, they were a little much.
They were a lot.
Typically, Tubi's don't bother me much.
No.
Because we only maybe get 5 or 6 during the entire film. The ones here, though, while they were often, most of them were short.
Yeah.
Most of them were 15 seconds or less. So it was like, that wasn't bad.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't even get to the kitchen and back in time.
Right.
Right. So it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But, yeah, another big win for Tubi. They've had a few now, just recently, that we've enjoyed. Lowlifes, which we watched recently, which was excellent. Little Bone Lodge.
Yes.
And Where the Devil Roams.
Yes.
And there was another one. There was another Tubi original. I was like, oh, that's a Tubi original as well. And I don't remember. It was something else that I just looked at the other day, and I was like, oh, that's a Tubi original? I quite liked that, too. I'll have to think about it, and I'll put it in the comments below if I figure it out. But other than that, guys, you slay queens.
Yes.
You never thought you'd hear me say that, huh? Yeah. Check it out. Give it a chance. Give it a chance. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, just try it.
If you're not vibing with it, if you don't think they're funny.
Yeah, then turn it off.
My favorite one is the one that does all the wardrobe changes.
Yeah, she's my favorite too, because she's like
the ditzy.
She's really ditzy, and she's just so cute. I loved all of her outfits. I don't know what her name is in this.
I don't either. I think I don't know. The names are
but
Caramel,
she's the ditzy one.
Trinity the Tuck, Heidi in Closet, and Crystal Method. Which I don't know. I think those are their. Stage names.
Yeah.
And then in the movie they have a different.
Yeah, they have
name.
a different name in the movie. So
Yeah.
I don't know who's who. I think. I don't know. But they were all great.
They were all great.
Really
Yeah,
great. I
mean,
really loved Mama too. Like I don't know what her name is, but they call her Mama. She's like got pink hair. And
the black girl, the black one with the big gap.
Oh yeah, she's wonderful.
Really funny, really
super funny.
really sweet.
Yes,
everything about her is adorable in this film.
They're all great, but even the one that's like
all of them,
they just are all wonderful. They're
like
all wonderful. I wish I knew what the
but...
characters' names were.
Yeah, me too.
And who is who, but.
And that's not to take away from other characters.
Yeah.
I really liked the owner, who is the guy from Sweet Tooth.
Yeah.
I even like the guy who's like Mr. Male Testosterone.
Oh my God.
Like he grows on you.
He had such a funny line.
Yeah. And their fans were really cute and fun. Yeah. No, I'm.
And even the girl.
The woman who's
she's so sweet. She's got such
the dart thrower.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, that's
Check
enough of this.
Let us know what you think.
Let us know. Yeah, I mean, we're basically doing a spoiler discussion at this point without saying it.
We were really into it.
Yeah. All right, guys, let us know, and let us know about this camera angle.
Yeah, what do you think?
It's probably not going to stay. But if enough people are like, "Oh, I like this better," then maybe we'll consider it. Yeah. It's much easier.
It is
a lot easier to half the time, or if not less. So, anyways, all right, guys, bye.